Yeah, down the back.
There's the advanced, which is another one of the poly ones. You've got to be very careful using them because they do not test at the full anode current. They test at a much lower figure and they use a different bias figure. But the end result shows as transconductance if the valve is if it's reasonable. But you can get yourself trapped very quickly by thinking that in fact they do test at the full anode current. They do not do that.
Yeah, and thanks for reinforcing that. That testing at the specified anode current is important. Like I said before, the EL34 dropped down to 5.95 volts. You don't get the correct transconductance. Try any valve on any transconductance tester, set it off its correct anode current, you'll get a reading. Dial the anode current down to half, you'll see the transconductance drop. I think it drops almost in proportion to anode current. So if the reading is critical, you know, like instrumentation circuits or high power circuits, you must test at the correct voltage. If all you need to know is that it's good or not, emission tester, hey, that will work absolutely fine. Sorry, down the back, Red.
With my Mark IV, when it's a million years old, I found 10 years ago I started having troubles when I first turned it on, and after about an hour it finally made it go to where it was. And we found out it was that muck cap on the back of it. So how does that affect the circuit?
Okay, it's an electrolytic capacitor. And the problem with electrodes is if you don't keep them polarised, they get really seriously, absolutely leaky. I mean, we're probably familiar with them in power supplies where you didn't think to check it, you plug it in and 30 seconds later it explodes and, you know, bumps off the bench. That's the dramatic failure. The less dramatic failure, I think what you're describing, Red, is it's an electrolytic. It only ever has about, 0.2 of a volt across it when the circuit's working correctly, so of course it's going to deteriorate. The recommendation is that you get yourself a polyester or some sort of plastic dielectric capacitor, which you can get in microfarad values, and replace the electrolytic with that. If you're doing a restoration, it's an easy thing to do, and it ensures you'll never have that problem of the leaky electrolytic reducing the meter sensitivity. Yeah. So there's a Hickok as well, is there? There was something about a patent war between, I just moved past it pretty quickly, something about a patent war between Hickok and AVO, but I didn't bother tracking that down.
I can bring mine if you look at it.
Please, yeah. Albie.
Well, likewise, I've got a Hickok, but it's limited in the types of valves you can test with it purely because, you know, the pin out on them. But they, Western Electric and Siemens, valve testers all will drop the filament by 10% to do a test from the age related problems of the valve.
Yes, in fact, the 163, they thoughtfully included the sub-miniature B8D, I think it is, and new Vista sockets, but they removed the original UX4, 5, 6 and 7 sockets. I think, Red, you said you had to make an adapter for some of your valves. Yeah. Yep, so if you're getting a 163, just be aware, great machine, love it a lot, but you will need the adapters for the old UX bases. Ormond.
Jeff just reminded me that we also have a rather unusual MOAR tester that has cards you put in it. With the cards have got holes in it, and that makes contact with the switch mechanisms in it rather than turning knobs. But it doesn't have a meter for it. I haven't looked at it for a while, but I think it's just got a coloured wrap on the front of it, something that gives you the...
It looks like it had a modified Magic Eye tuning indicator kind of thing. Yeah, do you want to bring it in? Again, it's one of those things that went, yeah, okay, good, not relevant, kept going. But it would be good to have a look at that. Yeah. Okay, well, look, I'll take two more. Charlie?
A friend of mine's got a VC 160
Yeah.
And he wanted to check its calibration. So apparently got a hold of AVO in England, and he had to buy a valve, and I think it was an EC50.
You can make one. You can make one.
Well, he tried to get the problem. The next problem was, it doesn't have a socket to plug an EC50 into the damn thing. He has to make up an adapter.
Okay, so this whole calibration thing has been, you can tell I'm a bit sort of enthused about it. The entire calibration thing I've not read anywhere in any AVO documentation that is from the manufacturer who made the darn thing, and very, very little on the web apart from Martin Forsberg, who says go check the meter. Because until you do that, everything else is relevant. Now, if the meter is indicating correctly, and if you get the correct voltage and you get the mains voltage set correctly, look, what can go wrong? It's got transformers. Have you got the correct voltage coming out of the transformers? Yes, good. It's got a meter. Has the meter got the correct sensitivity? Yes, good. Now, anything else apart from that, you just twiddle a couple of pots and away you go. It's nice to have calibration valves, because you just bung one in, quick check, is it working properly? But AVO's thing about the calibration valve, look, it's nice to know, but I'm going to go back to it's transformers and a meter. And anything in between the transformers and the meter is twiddles. If the transformers and the meter are working okay, you just do the twiddles, all good.
I've normally found though, if you've got a valve and it's in a circuit, and the book says that there's 8 valves across the cathode, and you don't have 8 valves, there's only 4, the valve's half stuffed.
Yeah. Michael, last one.
Yes, as calibration goes, I find putting in a brand new 6B6, it's got to be brand new out of the box.
Yep.
And a couple of other valves, brand new out of the box. And if they come up to the exact specifications they in the book, I reckon your meter's pretty right.
There we go. Michael's recommendation. Get some new old stock 6B6s, plug it in, check it out. All good, all good. Okay, look, I will leave it there. Thanks, folks. Oh, Red, one more.
Don't forget, meters also test other things involved, like heater to cathode shorts and things like that. And that's
Yes.
really, really important. It's not just all about transconductance for the output of the tube.
Yes, and that's what I've sort of focused on, but yes, Red's correct. You can do internal short checks, really important if you're doubtful about a valve. You can also do heater cathode leakage, which in some cases is going to be important. And you can do a complete functional test on the valve. And just very quickly, I'll mention this and we'll finish. You can also get a mystery valve and you look at it and you go, top cap, the top cap goes to grid 1. All good. And it's got the ST shape. It's top cap. Grids. I've got 1 pair, 2 pair, 3 pairs of grids. It's a pentode. It's probably going to be 6U7, 6J7, 6K7. What am I going to do to test it? I've given the thing in the handout. You can actually do the complete characterisation, but more importantly, you can find out whether it's a sharp cut-off 6J7, which will cut off completely at about, what, -8, -10 volts, or a remote cut-off 6U7, which needs about -40 volts to cut it off. So you can even use, well, any valve tester actually, to sort out, I've got a mystery valve, could be okay, might not, and you can actually work out what it is. Any more questions I'll take at the break. I think we're all hanging out for afternoon tea.
When the testing of the diodes on your 6B6s and so forth. Testing the diodes for your AGC.
I don't understand, Albie.
Not a 6B6 though.
No.
6B6.
6AB6 or any of those diodes.
Yes. So yeah, okay. I'll finish with this then. Yes, you can test the diode. So 6AV6, the double diode triodes like the 6SQ7 and all that bunch. Yes, you check the triode, but you can also check the 2 diodes. You can check converters. The triode hexode, like the ECH35 and so forth, you can check the triode section and the hexode section separately to look for weak local oscillators. Pentagrids, 6A7, 6A8, 6B6, 6SA7, 1S5, 1R5, they treat them as triodes or pentodes. It depends on the valve. So I've never seen it happen, but it's theoretically possible the entire valve could test okay, but it still won't work properly as a local oscillator. So just be aware that for the multi-element triode hexodes, converters, it tests the triode and the converter section separately. All the pentagrids, it treats them just as triodes or pentodes. You may not get as accurate an indication as you would if you could test the oscillator section by itself. The AVO doesn't allow that, so just be aware of that. Thank you, folks.